like to request and welcome none other than the backbone of our organization, Dr. Rajvinder Singh, the Chief Executive Officer of the organization. A few words about him, about his introduction. He's MTech in structural engineering. He's PhD in structural engineering. He's also having diploma in rail transport and management. He's a certified gold appraiser from Ministry of MSME TDC, Technical Development, and he has completed 6 months course in valuation of real estate. He's also registered in Independent Directors Data Bank of IDDB, the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, IICA. He is a visiting faculty in various engineering colleges and other institutions. Welcome to the class, sir, and please continue the session.
Thank you, Sandeep ji. And a very warm welcome to all my friends. So we will be starting with our first topic. As far as syllabus is concerned, for the first topic, you have to learn the difference between cost, price, and value. Then you have to learn various types of value. Then, as Sandeep have told you, 4 elements of value. So we will study that basic elements of value: marketability, utility, scarcity, and transferability. And then various factors affecting the value: physical, economical, legal, and social. Then highest and best use. Then value in use and value in exchange. We will study that. The real property, rights and interest in real estate, types of ownerships and types of occupancy in real estate. Then annuities, capitalization and rate of capitalization, years purchase, sinking fund, redemption of capital and reversionary value. Then construction and use of valuation tables, urban infrastructure and its influence on value of real estate, the real estate market and its characteristics, investment in real estate, factors influencing demand and supply schedule in real estate, and then you have to study concept of green building. So this topic has a huge weightage of 9%. 9% means you will be getting at least 9 marks questions out of these topics. So first, now these things are not in your syllabus. As we have told you, different types of property based upon marketability. We will discuss first of all these things: marketable properties and non-marketable properties. So first type of property is income fetching marketable properties. So from the name it is clear, income fetching. So what will be income fetching? What does this mean? It means the property will be getting some income from it. It is able to generate some income. And second thing is it is marketable. Marketable means it can be sold in the open market. So properties like hotels, cinemas, malls, petrol pumps, industrial properties, leased properties, which are able to generate some income and which are marketable means which can be sold in the open market easily without any legal or any other problem. They are called income fetching marketable property. And then there are certain properties which are though marketable, they are not income generating properties. These properties are called non-income fetching but marketable properties. So from the name it is clear, those properties which are not generating any as income is, they are not generating any rent as an example. But they are marketable, they can be sold in the open market. So self-occupied house, flats in which you are residing, a person is residing, shops which are being used for self-purpose, self-business, factories, and freehold land. These are non-income fetching but marketable properties. And then there are certain properties which are neither income fetching or not and non-marketable properties. There are some properties which are not generating any income and they cannot be sold in the open market. So such as educational institutions, temples, public and government buildings, fire station, museum, etc. These properties can not be sold in the open market and they do not generate any income as such for a particular person. So I think these things are clear to you. So Sandeep ji have told you these types of properties. So you must understand these things. Next is there are three things. As a valuer, you are mostly concerned with this term value. Whenever you have to do some work, you have to find out the value of the property most of the time. Of course, you may be asked to calculate the cost of the asset also. Cost of construction in case of building, cost of machinery in case it is to be built up. So as a layman, these three things seems to be similar, but as a valuer, you should understand the difference between these three things. So first we will discuss what is cost. So from the name it is clear cost. Cost means how much amount you have to spend on constructing an asset. On constructing or manufacturing an asset. In case of plant and machinery, we can say manufacturing an asset. And in case of real estate, you can say cost of construction. So for cost of construction, what do you need? For constructing a building, what do you need? First of all, you need land. So cost of land. Then what do you need? You need material, you need labor, you need overhead. There are certain overhead expenses. Then of course, when you are building a house, you have given it to some developer, some contractor to build a house. He will need some profit. He will need some profit. That is also to be included in the cost. And of course, when you construct a building, you need to get your plan from an architect or from a civil engineer, and you have to get approval of this plan. So that is professional fees. So cost of material, overhead expenses, developer's profit, and professional profit, professional fees. These all includes cost. But there are certain things which are not documented, but that is also to be included in the cost. There are certain unaccounted money. Of course, when you go for registering a sale deed, you have to give certain amount as an under table. And for getting your plan approved, though it is off the record, you have to pay certain amount to get your plan approved. In Indian context, there are certain unaccounted money also involved in it, but we cannot document these things. But they are considered in the total expenditure. So this is cost. Cost means how much amount you have to spend on constructing a building in case of real estate, and in case of plant and machinery, in manufacturing or building a machine. That is cost. And next is price. Price means the amount actually paid for a property in specific transaction. Means you buy a plot for constructing a building. Then how much amount you paid for buying that plot? How much amount, how much price you paid? That is price. So see the difference between cost and price. So in India, reported prices may differ from actual prices. Maybe that in the sale deed, you have registered a sale deed for 25 lakh, but actually you have paid 35 lakh as a price, as the price. So we will discuss this, what is this price is called. So price is how much amount you paid for buying a product. And then value. See, this is most important thing. Value. The monetary worth of a property. Monetary worth of a property based upon its utility, scarcity, transferability, and marketability. Monetary worth of a property based upon its utility, scarcity, transferability, and marketability. So maybe that a value of a property for Abhishek ji, there is a plot in the vicinity of his house. It will have more value for him. He will be ready to pay more for that because it is more utilized for him. It has more utility for him. So value is monetary worth of a property based upon its utility, scarcity, transferability, and marketability. These are four elements of value which Sandeep ji have already told you. So value represents basically whenever you do valuation, it means what you have done. You have find out estimated amount for which a property should exchange on the date of valuation between a willing buyer and a willing seller in an arm's length transaction. Value is an estimated amount for which a property should exchange on the date of valuation. There are certain things involved in it. One thing is date of valuation, which is important. If you are doing valuation as on today, it will be different than if you are doing it after 6 months. It will be different. It will not be same. Valuation, date of valuation is important. Second thing is between a willing buyer and a willing seller. means buyer is ready to buy that property without any problem, and seller is ready to sell his property. Both are willing to transact in an arm's length transaction, means they should not have any close relation between them. That it is should not be that a father is selling his house to his son, a brother is selling his house to his brother, because in that case the value may be different. So in an length transaction, it does not mean that they have a distance of arm's length. Arm's length transaction means both of them do not have any relationship between them. So this is value. So basically you should understand the word is monetary worth of the property. And it is calculated on the basis of utility to a person, scarcity of that asset, ability to transfer the property, and marketability. We will study these things in the coming slide. What is utility, what is scarcity, what is transferability, and what is marketability. But as of now, you must understand these four things. On the basis of these four things, you will be calculating the value of the property. So, for example, in practical terms, a newly constructed 3 BHK apartment in Mumbai's Andheri East might have a construction cost. Let us suppose the construction cost of this 3 BHK flat is 80 lakhs. But its market value could be 2.5 crore. Now, its construction cost is 80 lakh. Its market value may be 2.5 crore. Why? Because of its locational advantages, amenities, and market demand. These four things. So meanwhile, the actual transaction price, now see where another thing is there, that actual transaction price may be recorded.
Not audible.
Disconnected. Internet was disconnected all of a sudden. So I think it is clear to you what is the difference between cost, price, and value. Now we will discuss.
Sir, can you repeat the example? Can you repeat the example?
So let us suppose that a developer developed a 3 BHK apartment in Mumbai and there is, and he spent an amount of 80 lakhs over it. This is cost. But the market value would be 2.5 crore. Why? Because of scarcity of such flats in the market, because of locational advantages. The apartment is located in a very posh area which is nearer to all the commercial markets, and it is provided with all the amenities, and there is a demand in the market of such apartments. There is huge demand in the market of such apartments. Because of that, the developer was able to sell that apartment at 2.5. So the buyer was ready to pay 2.5 crores. Now he knows that the cost of construction is not more than 80 lakhs. Why? Because it is located in a very posh area. It is nearer to his place of work. It is provided with all types of amenities required for modern day living. And there is a huge demand of such apartments in the market. Is it clear? Any doubt about that? So basically, value depends upon the utility for a particular person. And of course, marketability, demand in the market. So cost may not be the real thing which will be, of course, it is one part. Cost is one part of the value, but there are certain other things related to it. Value is based upon many other things: utility, scarcity, transferability, and marketability. Of course, cost will be one part of your calculation. Clear? Any doubt? So next is we will be considering different types of values, which as a value you must know. You may not get question over it, but as a value, you should be able to distinguish between different type of value. First type of value is a theoretical value. So many of you may be in the field of valuation for a long time. You have been calculating the value which is called theoretical value, which is basically mathematical value. So what is mathematical value? You calculate the cost of land, you calculate the cost of construction, you add both of them, and you say it is value. So it is not value. It is basically cost. See the difference. You have been calculating cost so far, not the value. This is theoretical value, you can say. Clear? What is theoretical value? Any doubt about that? So next is economic value. So economic value, it depends upon how much a property can generate, how much income a property can generate. Most of the time, when certain investor invest in the money, they invest their money in the real estate, they expect some return in the form of rental income from the property. How much rental income a particular property can generate for a particular person, that is economic value of that. Investment property. So this is a value an investor may purchase a property. This is a proper value at which when an investor may purchase a property. It may be higher than the market value or it may be lower than the market. Clear? Any doubt about it? The next is net value. So what is net value? This is basically used in court cases, especially in case of divorce cases. There, the value which is used is net value. So what is net value? Net value means actual value minus, let us suppose the value of a property is 1 crore. The property value of the property of the husband is 1 crore. But he has taken a loan of 40 lakh from the bank. Now the value of the property is 1 crore in the market, but he has already taken a loan of 40 lakh from the bank. So the remaining is 60 lakh. That is net value. Market value minus encumbrances or lien on such property. That is net value. Clear what is net value? Any doubt about it? Any doubt about net value? And now the most important value, which as a valuer you have to calculate most of the time, market value. So market value.
Sir, one submission, sir, whether these materials will be supplied to us or we have to write down all these things now.
Sir, all these things will be supplied to you.
Thank you, sir. Then we can listen very carefully. Okay,
Sir,
sir.
yes, you just listen what I am telling you. Everything will be clear. As Sandeep have already told you, he will be taking an extra class 0 hour after the completion of syllabus of 2 days, and he will tell you how to download or assess the study material. This all study material will be given to you. So next is market value, which as a value you have to deal with for most of the times. So as far as valuation standards are concerned, in India so far no valuation standard has been given by the government, and they have told IBBI, of which you have to give the examination, which is the registering body. They have allowed you to use international valuation standards, IVSE. So from there we have taken this definition of market value. Market value, what IVSE 2017 says, it says market value is an estimated amount. As we have already discussed it, we will be considering other factors also this time. It is estimated amount for which an asset should exchange. It is first thing is it is an estimate. Estimate means no two values cannot give the same value.
Friends, this is the most important definition you have to learn as a valuer. Each and every word of this definition can be a MCQ during your examination. I request everyone to make bullet points on your paper, with your pen, with your hand, so that it can be fixed in your mind. No doubt, each and every PPT will be provided to you after completing today's session. But I request everyone to make bullet points so that you can be able to revise the same thing in fast manners when you will study about these things. This is the most important definition of market value available on record. Each and every word you need to understand. Market value, it is an estimated amount for which an asset should exchange. An asset should exchange when? On the date of valuation. On the date of valuation. Between whom? Between a willing buyer and willing seller. Willing buyer and willing seller. How? In an arm's length transaction. Arm's length transaction. Arm's length transaction does not mean the social distancing which we were using during Corona. Arm's length transaction. What is the meaning of arm's length transaction? We will learn in the forthcoming slides. How? In an arm's length transaction, when after proper marketing, wherein the parties had each acted. How they have acted? Knowledgeably, prudently, and without any compulsion. This is the most important definition to be learned as a valuer. अगर आपको रात को 2 बजे भी कोई उठाकर पूछता है what is the mean by market value, आपको word to word यही बोलना चाहिए. A market value is an estimated amount for which an asset should exchange on the date of valuation between a willing buyer and willing seller in an arm's length transaction after proper marketing, wherein the parties had acted knowledgeably, prudently, and without any compulsion. बिना एक भी सांस लिए आपको as it is word to word याद रखना पड़ेगा, याद रखना चाहिए. And each and every word used in this definition can be MCQ. And what are the meaning of these words? Dr. Rajvinder sir will tell us. Yes, sir. Please continue. Sorry to interpret.
Thank you, Sandeep ji, for your valuable input. So first thing is estimated amount for which an asset should exchange. It means that it is an estimate which a valuer has estimated on the basis of his knowledge, his experience, and after applying all these things. So it is not the actual value, because it depends upon person to person. Utility. A property may be more useful for me than Mr. Ashim Kalia. I will be ready to pay more for that. So first thing is, it is an estimated amount. On date of valuation, on the date on which you are doing the valuation, that is for that value is for that particular date. It may be different if you are doing valuation after 1 year, after 2 years, after 1 month or 2 months, because of change of conditions. Then between a willing buyer and a willing seller, both of them are willing to transact. They are not under any compulsion that the seller needs money all of a sudden. That should not be the condition. So both of them are willing to transact. In an arm's length transaction means they do not have any close relationship between them. That a brother is not selling his property to his brother, or father is not selling the property to his son, or it should not be between two close friends.
Friends, it is very important to learn about arm's length transaction, the meaning of arm's length transaction. Arm's length transaction का मतलब ये नहीं है कि 2 फुट दूर बैठ गया तो एक arm's length transaction है. हमने 2 फुट दूर बैठ के transaction किया, that means it is meant as arm's length transaction. No, the exact meaning is of the arm's length transaction is not the social distancing, not the distance, physical distance. Please try to understand what Dr. Rajvinder sir is trying to. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Next is after proper marketing. So especially in case of real estate, the problem is that you cannot sell your property as in the case of gold. You go to the market, you sell your gold. But this is not in the case of real estate property. You need certain time for transaction. You have to make advertisement in the newspapers, or you have to tell certain property dealers that you are ready to sell your property, and you need certain time. That is, you have done all possible things which will be able, which make you able to sell your property as per the conditions of market value, means after proper marketing. And then where the parties had each acted knowledgeably. So let us suppose I have bought a property 40 years ago. I have gone foreign. After returning from the foreign country, I am selling my property and I have bought that property for 1 lakh. But today's market value is 2 crore. But I do not know. I think that the property was purchased for 1 crore, 1 lakh. It may be 10 lakh or 20 lakh. I do not have the knowledge of the market. So in case of value, I should have the complete knowledge of the market, that at what prices the such properties are being sold in the market. That is knowledgeably and prudently and without compulsion. Means it should not be that I need immediate money because of certain compulsion. I need money all of a sudden and I am ready to sell within a week. Or someone has placed a gun over my head that sell this property. That should not be the conditions. So all these things should be there. Estimated amount for which an asset should exchange on the date of valuation between a willing buyer and a willing seller in an arm's length transaction, and transact after proper marketing wherein the parties had each acted knowledgeably, prudently and without compulsion. And when you are doing valuation, there are certain other things where you should make minimum assumption. Of course, you need to make certain assumptions when you are doing valuation. We will discuss them in the coming slides. But as of now, you should know that you should make minimum assumptions. And whatever things you have adopted, you should have reasons for adopting certain basics. Why do you have chosen the rate of that land per unit rate of that land? You should have the reason for that. And of course, you should know the subject matter of valuation. What is subject matter of valuation? Means for what purpose you are doing valuation. So value will change with the change of purpose of valuation. You are doing valuation for capital gain purpose, it will have different value. If you are doing valuation for banking purpose, it will have different value. So depending upon the purpose of valuation, the value of the asset will change. The same asset will have different value with a different purpose. And then when you are doing valuation, especially in case of real estate, then interest in the property. Interest means what is the right of the person to derive benefit from that property. So in the coming slides, we will be discussing different types of rights. Of course, when you buy a property, what you get? Basically, you get a certain rights in the asset. When you buy a property, let us suppose you buy a land. So basically, what you have got? You have got the right to construct a building over it. You have got a right to sell this property. You have the right to change this property as per your wish. You have basically bought certain rights, a bundle of rights. Buying of
What is meant by ownership of the property? Ownership is nothing but just bundle of rights you are enjoying after purchasing that property. Bundle of rights. Okay, what is meant by ownership of the property? It is a bundle of rights you are enjoying after purchasing the property. Yes, sir. Please continue.
So you must understand what are the rights you are doing valuation. And rights, what are the existing rights and what may be the future rights. Both of things you have to consider. And then, of course, in case of real estate, you have to take this highest and best use of the property. We will discuss in the coming slide what is highest and best use. As of now, you must understand that land or the asset should be put to its highest and best use. So, any doubt about this market value? If you have any doubt, you must clear as of now.
So what would be the reasons for adoption of certain basics? What exactly would that mean?
Sir, we will be discussing that. Let us suppose you have adopted a price of land rupees 2 lakh per unit. On what basis you have adopted that rate? We will be discussing all these things, how this rate are to be adopted and what record you have to maintain for that.
What is the reason of adopting the price of 2 lakh per unit? Why not 1,99,999? Why not 2,20,000 rupees? What is the basic? Yes.
Okay. Any other doubt? So for example, a residential property in Bangalore, Citranagar, market value would reflect a recent comparable sale of similar property adjusted for differences in size, amenities, and specific location advantages. So we will discuss all these things in the coming slides. Basically, there are different methods of calculating the value of an asset.
Sir, I have a question actually. So when you say, we should consider minimum assumptions, right? What does that mean? Like, why we should consider assumptions on minimum level? Because there can be numbers of assumptions which we have to carry out while carrying out the evaluation.
Of course, there should be minimum assumption. Why? Because basically, when you do valuation, it does not mean that you have done the valuation and your valuation will be accepted and you will not need to defend your value at any time.
Okay.
You may be that after 3 years you have to defend your value.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Then what are the assumptions you have made? You have to clarify that why you have made this assumption.
So if you can just elaborate, like,
More the number of assumptions, more will be the difficulty for you to defend your valuation.
If you can just elaborate this point with one of the examples, just for the clarity.
Sir, let us suppose you have assumed that this property lies in commercial use.
Okay.
So you have calculated your value based upon that.
Okay.
Okay? But that property was not in the commercial.
But so for that, we'll be taking document whether they have whether the property is in commercial.
That is the of course when you will be calculating the value of land, what you will need. How will you will be calculating the value of land?
So, sir, on the basis of sale deed, property papers, and if there is a change in land use, then we'll be asking for documents for that also from the client.
In the sale deed, only stamp duty value is given.
No, sir, I understand, but if there is a change in land, then
you are doing valuation. You are calculating market value of the asset.
correct.
Okay, na? How will you calculate the market value of land?
So obviously, like we'll be taking some nearby rates which are prevailing in the market nearby. Maybe.
Let us suppose you have gone in an area where all the buildings have been constructed. There is not any plot is available for sale. Only one single plot is there of which you have to do the valuation. Then what will you do?
So in that case, you are saying we'll be taking some assumptions to carry out the valuation.
How will you carry out? How will you assume? What assumption will you make?
That I simply don't know right now.
Right?
I really don't have any idea.
That is where the problem arises. So what will you do? You will consider the sale of buildings in that area. You will consider the recent sale of buildings in that area. Then from the plinth area of that buildings, you will calculate the depreciated rate of the building. From the selling price, you will deduct the depreciated value of the building. That will give you the cost of land. And on the basis of 2-3 transactions, you will make certain adjustment in them because of difference in the location, because of difference in the amenities, because of difference of many other things. You will make certain assumptions.
Correct,
On the basis of that assumption, you will assume the cost per unit land.
Okay.
So you should try to minimize these assumptions.
All right, now I get it. Understood. So, we should take, minimum assumption as far as we
minimum
can.
Assumptions. So it does not mean it does not mean that you assume that the value is 2 lakhs. You will not be able to defend your value at the time of any problem.
Correct.
So make a minimum assumptions, and wherever you have to make assumptions, you should be try to get documentation for that.
Absolutely.
The problem is that now come to the plinth area rate. When you are calculating the value of cost of construction, you will be using plinth area rate. Now, what rate you will be using?
Plinth area, I believe, we'll be using the floor market.
So, in the market, for different specification, different rates are there.
Correct.
Of course, you will be using plinth area rates given by the Public Works Department of your state. You may use plinth area rates of Public Works Department of your state, but that also depends upon location to location.
Absolutely. That will change with every.
Problem. So basically, reason for making adoption of minimum assumption is that you should make. It doesn't mean that you should not make any assumptions. You should make. Wherever not possible, you have to assume. But
Correct.
you have to get some document that in case your assumption is objected, you are able to defend your assumption.
So basically, we should minimize our assumptions in order to have, consolidated and fair market values, so that in future, if in case we have to defend our values, we should have, minimum assumptions and more of a documentation. Correct, sir?
Any other doubt? Then is liquidation value and distress value. So what is the difference between liquidation value, distress value, and market value? Here is one thing we have considered, that transaction should be without compulsion. Without that, the seller is not under any duress, are not under any compulsion to sell his property because of illiquid nature of real estate. Illiquid means you cannot go to the market and sell your building within a day, which you can do in case of plant and machinery. You go to the market, you can sell your car, but you cannot do that in case of real estate. And in case you are under duress, then the value will not be market value. That value will be liquidation value or distress value. When the property is to be sold under compulsion, you can say, and within minimum possible time. So there may be two types of valuation. One is forced value, liquidation value, and second one is ordinary liquidation value. So ordinary liquidation value, as we have told, what is that? If a period of few months is available, if a period of few months, 2 months, 3 months is available, then it will be called ordinary liquidation value. And if the time is less than 30 days, if the property is to be sold in less than 30 days, it is called forced liquidation value. Clear? Both things are clear, ordinary and forced. In case of orderly liquidation value, you have a time of 2 to 3 months. But in case of forced liquidation value, it has to be sold within within 30 days. For example, when valuing an industrial property in Gujarat for NCLT proceedings under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, the liquidation value may be 60 to 70% of the market value due to forced sale condition or shortened marketing period. So why this value is reduced? Because of forced sale condition and shortened marketing period. You must understand. Any doubt about liquidation value? Clear? So we will discuss the replacement cost in the coming slides. As of now, we will be considering the marriage value. Marriage value is also called synergic value. So let us suppose you have a plot on the main road, and on this main road the rate is 20,000 per unit, and on the back of this plot there is another plot on the interior road where the unit price is 10,000 per unit. Now, this plot A and this plot A. Now, the owner of this plot A buy this plot B for 12,000 per unit. Now the rate was 10,000 per unit. He bought this plot for 12,000 per unit. And now he was able to sell this combined plot at a rate of say 18,000 per unit, or more than that, because of because with the combining of these two plots, the value of this plot B increases by approximately say 6,000 per unit. This is called marriage value or synergistic value.
So friends, there is some internet connectivity problem. Dr. Rajvinder sir will be joining within 1 or 2 minutes.
Sorry for delay because of interruption in the network. Next is breakup value. So when this is especially in case of plant and machineries, when an established production unit is sold, closed down, it is not making any production, then each and every machinery are sold as an individual component, that is, and then total value is calculated. That value is called breakup value. Means sale of individual asset is planned separately in this case. This is especially for plant and machinery values. When an established production unit is closed and sale of individual asset is planned separately, it is called breakup value. Next is rounded value. Rounded value is simply, let us suppose you have calculated the value, it comes out to be 12,98,800 and you round it up to 13 lakh. This is known as rounded value. Next is, there are two things. One is salvage value and other is scrap value. So you must know the difference between them. What is salvage value and what is the scrap value? Salvage value is estimated amount that can be recovered from an asset at the end of its useful life. The estimated amount that can be recovered. Let us suppose you have a car, petrol car, you know the life of this petrol car is 15 years useful life. After 15 years, its registration will come to an end. But of course, it can still be used. Though its useful period has come to an end, its economic life has come to an end. There are two types of life of an asset. One is economic life and other is physical life. Economic life means you can still use it, but it is not economical to use it. Let us suppose you have an old car. You can use it, but you need, every time you get your car out for an outing, you need to get it repaired. Every time you have to spend an amount on the repair. So it will be viable if you sell that car and buy a new car. If you sell that car as it is, it will be called you have got salvage value. Though it can still be used further, but it cannot be used economically. So the amount you got, that is called salvage value. And the second thing is scrap value. Scrap value means now your car has stopped working. It cannot be further used anymore. And of course, this value will be less than salvage value. Scrap value in most of the cases will be less than scrap value. So scrap value will be calculated on the basis of, let us suppose you have a building, then it will depend upon what type of material it has been used. An industrial steel building will have more scrap value than a residential load bearing structure. Then it will depend upon the cost of recycling and disposal costs. And it will depend upon the market demand for such a scrap. Because steel, if you have a steel building, it can still be used for some other purpose. But if it is a load bearing or RCC structure, you cannot use that at other places, except for earth filling itself. So there are two things. One is salvage value, another is scrap value. Salvage value is the value of the asset after which it cannot be used economically. And scrap value is value of the asset at the end of it cannot be used anymore, when it cannot be used anymore. And you have to demolish that, you have to dismantle that. That is called scrap value. So there are two things, scrap value and salvage value. Next is sentimental value. So let us suppose you have an ancestral house which was purchased by your grandfather. You have been living it for your life. So there are certain sentiments attached to that building. You have certain sentiments attached to that building, because of which it has some sentimental value for you. That may not be for some other person. So you may not be readily sell that asset because some certain sentimentals have been attached to that one. And if you have to sell that, you will ask higher price than the market price. So that is sentimental value. Then stigma value. Stigma value is opposite of sentimental value. So let us suppose in the building which you are buying, it was constructed over a building which was with which there are rumor that certain ghosts are living there, or it has been constructed over a burial ground or a cremation ground. This building has been constructed over a land or plot which was earlier a cremation ground. So it has that land has some stigma attached to it. Because of it, there will be a lesser number of buyers for such a property. And of course, the value of that asset because of its stigma will come down. So we will use this value in exchange in the coming example slides. Next is accommodation value. Accommodation value because of its size or shape, it cannot be developed independently. Let us suppose this plot A. Now it has been there all on all the four sides there are plots. It does not have independent access. This plot A, it does not have any access. Either you have to go through D, C, E, and B. So there will be only 4 buyers for this plot A. Means only E, B, C, and D can accommodate this plot. Only those can buy this plot. So these have accommodation value for all these 4 persons. So the value this plot will fetch, that will be called accommodation value. So such a land is called a landlocked land because of its location. Next is annual letting value or assessed value. This is generally used by the local body authorities for calculating the property tax on your building. So each local body authorities in your state have a procedure to calculating the annual letting value or assessed value of the asset, on the basis of which property tax or house tax is applied or levied. That value is called annual letting value or assessed value. Next is guideline value. So guideline value is basically the collectorate rate on the basis of which sale deeds are registered, on the basis of which stamp duty is paid while registering a sale deed. So that value is called guideline value. Next is special value. Special value, this is for a personal value. Let us suppose you have a plot adjacent to your building and you need that plot. You may be ready to pay higher price for that, because it has more value for you. It has more utility for you. It has certain special utility for you. So that value that you will pay, that is special value. Then fancy value, it is also called desired value. So fancy value, it is also similar to special value. If the purchaser is ready to pay higher price because of some necessity, because of his desire to buy that property, that is called fancy value. That may not be because of some necessity, because of some desire also. Then value in use. So basically, when we have discuss about the value, market value of the property, we have discussed certain things, that the property should have been put to its highest and best use. Highest and best use means, let us suppose you have a residential building in a commercial zone. Zone is commercial, but your building is residential. It has not been put to its highest use. Highest use would have been commercial. So let us suppose I have a manufacturing unit in the commercial zone. The value in use would be based upon the income generated from the manufacturing operations. However, its highest and best use in the commercial retail space may be much higher than the present use. So this is value in use. Next is monopoly value. Monopoly means, let us suppose I have a plot in a posh locality where all the plots have been converted into buildings. There is only one plot available. So I will have the monopoly to sell that plot at a much higher price than the market price in that locality. So that will not reflect the actual market price or market value in that area. Because of monopoly, so that is called monopoly value. Then value in place. Value in place refers to the market value of an asset as it exists in its current location rather than its value if it was moved to be rather than its use elsewhere. Value in place of a property consider its because of its current location and the extent to which it contributes to the success of a business or operation. So let us suppose you have a franchisee of Haldiram. If it is on you have a McDonald outlet. If it is situated on a highway, it will have more business. Because of that, it will have more value. Rather than if it is situated in a residential area or in a road other than national highway. If it is situated on a major district road, because it is situated on a national highway, because of that it will have more business, because of that it will have more value, rather than if it is situated on a major district road. So the value of an asset because of its location, that is called value in place. So you must understand the difference between value in place and value in use. And next is value in exchange. Value in exchange represents the price of a property would command in the open market. Typically, buyers and sellers with neither under compulsion and both having reasonable knowledge of relevant facts. It focuses on transferability and market appeal. So basically, value in exchange is the market value which we have discussed. So there are three things: value in place, value in use, and value in exchange. For example, so real example of difference between value in use and value in exchange. A custom-built pharmaceutical manufacturing unit in Himachal Pradesh, designed with specialized clean rooms and equipment, has a value in use of 35 crores to the current owner, based upon its operational efficiency and production capacity. However, its value in exchange might be 20 crore because any other buyer would need to make substantial modifications for alternative uses. Clear? Clear the difference between value in use and value in exchange. Then next is depreciation value. So depreciation value, you know, you buy a car for 10 lakh today. After a year, its value will depreciate because of its wear and tear and because of its use. The value will decrease with the passage of time, with the passage of age. As the age increases, the value of the asset decreases. So value of the asset at a particular age is called depreciation value. Next is present value. So present value of the asset is depreciated present value of the asset is called present value. Means 10 lakh was the purchase price and presently the depreciated value is 8 lakh. So present depreciated value of the asset is called present value. So next is if you are calculating it from cost of construction, and if you are calculating from income point of view, then depending upon the stream of cash flows at a given rate of return, so how it will be calculated, we will do in the coming slides. As of now, you must understand the present value on the basis of cost approach only. On the income approach, we will calculate the present value in the coming slides. Next, value of the going concern. So you have calculated, we have calculated breakup value. Breakup value is when the industrial unit production has been closed. But if the unit is producing production and the owner is getting some profit out of it, and it is expected that the unit will continue to generate profit in the coming future, and if you calculate the value based upon that, then value is called value of going concern. That production is going on, unit is producing some profit, and it is expected that the profit will continue in the coming near future. The value you calculate, that is called value of going concern. How it will be done, we will be doing in the coming lectures. Next is intrinsic value. It is especially in case of real estate. You know, you buy the property for 25 lakh, but sale deed is registered for 10 lakh only. So let us suppose the property is purchased for 40 lakh and agreement was made for 25 lakh to save the stamp duty. Now this 40 lakh is actual price and 25 lakh, it is actual price or intrinsic value, and 25 lakh is recorded price or agreement value. Next is book value of immovable property. So this is especially in case of industrial units. What they do, they have books of accounts. First of all, they buy land. Let us suppose in case of they buy a machine for 10 lakhs last year. Say in 2020, they buy a machine for 20 lakhs. And they get these in their books of accounts, the purchase price is 20 lakhs. In the next 2021, its price will be, they will apply certain depreciation over it. Let us suppose they apply a depreciation of 10%, 2 lakhs. Then the book value in 2021 is 18 lakhs. Similarly, they go on applying depreciation, and in the 2020, the book value in their records is 8 lakh. So the value in the books of records of a company is called book value. So it will depend upon the original purchase price and accumulated depreciation. Okay. Next is potential value. So potential value means that it will depend upon how much income or how much profit this asset will generate in the future. Let us suppose you have bought a land where you can, as far as bylaws, you can construct a 3-story building. So it will have more potential value. But FAR says you cannot construct more than single-story building. So that plot of land will have a lower value, lower potential. So depending upon potentiality of improvement. So construction of building is basically called improvement in the technical terms. So based upon the improvement, potential of improvement, the value is called potential value. Then social value. Social value depends upon the value of community well-being. Means situation, location of the building. This is especially for real estate values. Location of the property. Location of quality of life of the inhabitants in that locality, economic opportunities available, environmental sustainability, and health and well-being amenities available in the area. All these things, based upon these things, the value increases or decreases because of sustainable development. This is called sustainable development these days. So the value derived from use of land and property based upon social components, that is called social value. This is especially for real estate values. Next is earning value, how much regular income a property can generate, that is called earning value. Public interest value, this is in case of properties which are used for public interest such as parks and other things. So that the value of that properties is called public interest properties. Insurance value. Insurance value means value of the building for which the insurance is done, for on the basis of which the premium is paid. And hope value or speculative value. Let us suppose you buy a property in a particular area and you know that in the coming days there will be a construction of a metro in that areas. Because of construction of metros, the rates of the properties will increase manifolds. There are speculation, there is hope that because of certain reasons the values will increase in the near future. There are speculations. That is called speculative value. Mortgage lending value. So when you calculate the value for the banks, and the banks on the basis of your value give loan to the customer. But what happens is they give loan as on today. But in case after 3 years, 4 years, the loan becomes non-performing asset and they have to sell the property. So basically, they have to calculate, they have to check future marketability and long-term sustainable aspects in the property. You have calculated the value of the property as, let us suppose, 20 lakh. And they will not give land 20 lakh to the client. They have certain LTV, loan to value ratio, maybe 65%, 75%. Means they will give only 30 lakh, 14 lakh. Because they think in the coming future, the value may decrease. So that value is called mortgage lending value, on the basis of which the amount of loan to be given by the banking or financial institution is decided. That is called mortgage lending value. So there are two things. One is replacement cost, another is called reproduction value. These are two important things. Replacement cost. So let us suppose you are calculating replacement cost. It means, let us suppose you are valuing a property which was constructed 40 years ago. Now you will assume that you calculate its replacement value. Its replacement value may be that its useless is same. Replacement means usefulness of the asset will remain the same. See here, the area, other things are same, but it has a door on this side and 3 windows, but it has 5 windows and a door. But usefulness is same. Let us suppose, for example, a partition wall which was constructed with the mud mortar 40 years ago, and it was plastered on both the sides. Now the partition wall has been constructed with the cement mortar, because nowadays cement mortar is used, and it is not plastered up on both the sides, but it can still have the same usefulness which was before the construction of a new wall. Means usefulness of the property of the asset will remain the same. You have replaced the asset with an asset, similar asset, which have same utility but may not have the same specification. That is called replacement cost. You have replaced the asset with an asset which is having same utility but may have different design, may have different specifications. That is called replacement. But if you have replaced the asset with an exact replica, nothing changed, same material, same design, same specification, then it is called reproduction. You have reproduced the asset. That will be called reproduction value. So most of the time, as a valuer, you will be dealing with this replacement value instead of reproduction value. So next is asking price. Asking price means which the price is seller is asked by the seller to sell his property on the basis of it is a expected selling price of the seller. That is called asking price. And market value we have already discussed. So, Sandeep ji, we will be having a tea break of 15 minutes, after which we will be starting with our next topic. If you have any doubt up until now about the different types of values, you can ask. Anybody having any doubt?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes, sir.
This was regarding the marriage value, wherein you had
जी.
shown two plots, one with a
Sir,
value of
don't worry,
20,000.
we will be having some examples over them. You need not to. These are just the beginning, not the end.
Okay.
After completion of your syllabus, if you will be having doubt, I will certainly clear that. We will be having certain examples, case studies over this marriage rally also.
Okay.
Friends, there is a famous dialogue of Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, the very famous film actor of India. Picture abhi baki hai mere dost. The famous dialogue of Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. तो यू मस्ट रिमेंबर, पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. अरे बहुत कुछ है, अभी तो हमने शुरू ही किया है. टुडे इज द फर्स्ट डे एंड इज द फर्स्ट आवर. बहुत कुछ है सीखने के लिए, बहुत कुछ है. आखिरी दिन अगर आपको कोई डाउट होता है तो हम इसको रीडायरेक्ट करेंगे, इस फिल्म को, शाहरुख खान जी के साथ में. लेकिन एज ऑन डेट यू शुड रिमेंबर द फेमस डायलॉग, पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्त. ओके, विद दिस
Any other doubt?
सर, डिस्ट्रेस वैल्यू और स्टिग्मा वैल्यू, मेजर डिफरेंस क्या है?
ओके, यस सर.
सर, डिस्ट्रेस वैल्यू क्या है कि आपने लोन लिया बैंक से,
अच्छा.
आप लोन वापस नहीं कर पाए,
हाँ,
तो बैंक क्या करेगा?
उसको सेल कर
आपकी
देगा.
प्रॉपर्टी का आपको कहेगा कि आप क्या तो प्रॉपर्टी सेल कर दो, नहीं तो हम सेल कर देंगे.
जी जी.
अब आपको बैंक ने 2 महीने का टाइम दे दिया,
हम्म.
ठीक है, तो आपको पास आप किसी भी प्राइस पे उसको सेल करना चाहेंगे कि छोड़ो मैं बैंक के पैसे दे दूं,
हम्म.
नहीं तो बैंक सेल कर देगा, मेरे को उससे भी कम मिलेगा, तो वो डिस्ट्रेस वैल्यू होगी. अब एक बिल्डिंग है, उसमें क्या हुआ कि पहले ए पर्सन रह रहा था, एक ही फैमिली रह रही थी, धीरे धीरे करके उसके सारी फैमिली खत्म हो गई, तो ए ने प्रॉपर्टी बी को भी सेल कर दी, बी वाला आया, उसकी की फैमिली के साथ ऐसा हुआ. अब भाई जो नेबरहुड में है वो ये सब सोचेंगे कि ये इस प्रॉपर्टी में कोई प्रॉब्लम है, जो भी आता है उसकी पूरी फैमिली खत्म हो जाती है.
हमें सुइसाइडल
स्टिग्मा
केस
लग
ज्यादा हो रहा है,
स्टिग्मा लग गया.
हिसाब होने से
हाँ
उसको
जी,
स्टिग्मा मिलेंगे. मान
हाँ
लीजिए
जी,
एक बिल्डिंग में कंटिन्यूअसली सुइसाइड हो जाता है,
हाँ जी, हाँ जी,
वो स्टिग्मा वैल्यू हो जाएगा.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
थैंक यू.
सो देखिए,
Any
स्टिग्मा
other?
इन अदर वर्ड्स यू कैन से घोस्ट इफेक्ट. किसी बिल्डिंग में अगर आपको डाउट है या ड्यू टू एनी सुपरस्टिशियस पर्पस, it is being declared as negative. Just imagine, or you can consider in North India, the plot having more frontage than the back. It is called Gomukh plot. Gomukh plot. It is being considered as negative effect. Some supernatural powers will affect on that particular property. In southern states, the plot on the T junction of a street is considered as negative effect. So if you are selling that property, then nobody, means the potential buyers will be very less in the market. If you are selling a Gomukh plot in North India, the potential buyers will be very less in the market. And if, as Mr. Rao said, any suicidal attempt or anything such like that, or any mishappening continuously goes wrong with the family who is residing in that particular property, that such type of effects are known as stigma effect. उस प्रॉपर्टी के ऊपर कोई नेगेटिव वैल्यू है, या फिर लेट इट बी वो प्रॉपर्टी किसी ने लोन पर ली है, वो लोन नहीं दे पाया, आगे सेल हो गया, उसके बाद जिसने लिया वो भी लोन नहीं दे पाया, वो भी सेल हो गया, तो दूसरा कोई इसको खरीदेगा नहीं. अरे यार, यहाँ तो जो आता है बर्बाद हो जाता है. तो दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टिग्मा इफेक्ट. किसी भी वजह से नेगेटिव इफेक्ट प्रॉपर्टी पर होगा. इन केस ऑफ गल्फ कंट्रीज, आप देखिए, एक बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रीट है, वहां पर बहुत सारी प्रॉपर्टीज है, बहुत हाई वैल्यू की प्रॉपर्टी है. एक बिल्डिंग है वहां पर जो बनी हुई है, बहुत अच्छी बनी हुई है, लेकिन बिल्कुल खाली पड़ी हुई. अब उसमें कोई ना, उसके जो ओनर्स हैं बाहर, उन्होंने बड़ा बड़ा बोर्ड लगाकर रखा हुआ है, फॉर सेल, 50% ऑफ द मार्केट वैल्यू. कोई उसको खरीदने को तैयार नहीं है. उसमें जब बिल्डिंग बना था, कोई लेबर का कोई मिसहैपनिंग हो गया था, तो उस वजह से उस प्रॉपर्टी में कहते हैं कि वो भूत रहते हैं वहां पर. अब कोई उसको खरीदता नहीं. तो दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टिग्मा इफेक्ट. होता कुछ भी नहीं है प्रैक्टिकली. अगर आप उसको ऑन पेपर देखें, भूत कहां से लेकर आओगे आप? You cannot take the photograph of that ghost and paste on your valuation report. No, but you have to consider the stigma, that negative value. What is the, you have to consider a considerable discount on your assessed figure. कि आप अगर 1 लाख का प्रॉपर्टी असेस किया है और यहां पर स्टिग्मा लगा हुआ है, nobody will buy more than 25%, और हो सकता है 25 में भी कोई ना मिले. This is called stigma effect, and that has to be considered by a valuer. Each and every valuer, sometimes, जैसा मैंने आपको बताया, नॉर्थ इंडिया में कुछ अलग ट्रेडिशंस हैं, साउथ में कुछ अदर ट्रेडिशंस, समटाइम्स सुपरस्टिशियस इफेक्ट की वजह से भी कुछ प्रॉपर्टीज सेल नहीं होता है. तो दिस इज द स्टिग्मा इफेक्ट. So we are going to take a short tea break. It is 12:20 now. We will join sharp at 12:35. 12:35 will be the attendance time, and the person who will not be able to show his face, Mr. Raman Chatrat and Mr. Kamal Kishore, if you are not able to show your face, please leave the class.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Till
I'm
the
here.
announcement of the switch off your screen. If anyone is not showing your face, then you please remove the class. Mr. Raman Chatrat, you are being marked as absent by the observers. You are being removed from the class. Mr. Raman Chatrat, last warning for you. Okay, goodbye. 12:35 will be the attendance time. Anyone who will not be able to join till 12:35 and not able to show his bright face on 12:35 will be marked as absent and will not be allowed to continue with the rest of the session throughout the day. Okay. Till then, you can switch off your screens. We will join sharp at 12:35. Goodbye.